The theology of Messianic renewal begins with the concept of genealogical continuity in ancient Israel. Isaiah chapter 11, verse 1 states, "And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots." Isaiah structures this lineage through a specific biological typology, identifying Jesse as the foundational root system. David represents the main trunk, growing directly from those roots. The subsequent Davidic kings of Judah form the extending branches of the canopy. This biological structure explains how the Messianic line persists, even when the visible dynasty is severed from the earth. Because of the compounding sins of Judah, a divine judgment was placed upon the royal tree. This judgment resulted in the cutting down of the tree, ending the visible Davidic monarchy. By the time of the Babylonian exile, the Davidic throne was vacant, and the kingdom had ceased to function. Isaiah's prophecy emphasizes that the new branch arises from the buried roots of Jesse, rather than the established royal throne of David. In this prophetic model, the death of the corrupt human institution is required to bring forth uncorrupted life from the original foundation. Next, we examine why the prophecy points to Jesse rather than David. The first reason is humility. Jesse was a farmer from Bethlehem, representing an agrarian reality far removed from the opulence of the later royal court. Bypassing David redirects the messianic expectation to the family's state before it was elevated to royalty. Second, this indicates a new beginning. God is not merely propping up a failed dynasty, he is starting fresh from the roots. Finally, it demonstrates God's faithfulness to his own absolute promises. In 2 Samuel chapter 7, verse 16, God promised David an enduring kingdom. The survival of the roots proves this covenant was not voided by the exile. The roots represent a divine covenant that remains intact regardless of the failures of human kings. The following section addresses the two Davidic lines presented in the New Testament. Matthew and Luke present different genealogical pathways from David to Jesus, creating a specific exegetical challenge. Matthew traces the legal, royal succession line through Solomon. This line follows the legal right to the throne through the kings of Judah and Jeconiah, ending at Joseph. Luke traces the physical, biological bloodline. Physical ancestry is traced through David's son Nathan, who never reigned, down to Mary's family. This creates a divide between legal royal inheritance and biological descent. We now turn to a critical problem within the royal succession. Jeconiah was a king situated within Solomon's royal line. Jeremiah chapter 22, verse 30, pronounces a judgment on this line, stating, "No man of his seed shall prosper, sitting upon the throne of David." While Solomon's line continued legally, it was barred from producing a biological heir to the throne. By tracing physical ancestry through Nathan instead of Solomon, the bloodline bypasses Jeconiah's lineage while maintaining its descent from David. This allows the Messiah to inherit the legal right to the throne through Joseph, without inheriting the bloodline judgment of Jeconiah. Finally, we observe the broader messianic fulfillment. These genealogical findings align with Isaiah's metaphor. The branch is not a continuation of Solomon's canopy. It is a fresh shoot springing directly from the root system through Nathan's hidden line. This fulfills the requirement for judgment on the visible tree, while allowing grace to bring new life from the hidden roots. Isaiah is not the only prophet to use this specific title. The same imagery appears throughout the later prophetic record. Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 5 promises a righteous branch. Zechariah chapter 3, verse 8 mentions "my servant, the branch." And Zechariah chapter 6, verse 12 speaks of "the man whose name is the branch." Jesus Christ inherits the promises made to David by emerging as a new beginning from the roots of Jesse. This architecture resolves the historical judgment on the royal tree and confirms the endurance of the eternal covenant. The messianic promise is sustained not by the strength of the visible kingdom, but by the life remaining in the roots. This concludes our overview.